बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। लाहौर हाई कोर्ट के बुलेटिन में खुश आमदीद। ये 2025 का बुलेटिन मैंने स्टार्ट किया है, जिसमें आपको एक तरह का रिव्यू मिलेगा इस बुलेटिन का। जो भी इम्पोर्टेंट केसेस हैं उसका इसमें क्रक्स होता है और पूरा की पूरी जजमेंट भी आपको इसी में ही मिल जाएगी। तो उससे ये होता है कि पूरी जजमेंट आपको पढ़नी नहीं पड़ती है, आपका क्रक्स पढ़ के आपका आइडिया हो जाता है कि आपको रेलिवेंट कौन सी जजमेंट चाहिए, तो फिर वो इजीली ढूंढ सकते हैं हम यहाँ से। अच्छा जी, शुरू करते हैं। फैक्ट्स। थ्रू दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पिटिशन द पिटिशनर सीक्स रिकवरी ऑफ हर डॉटर एंड सन इस्माइल फाहद फ्रॉम alleged illegal and improper custody of father and paternal uncle of the detained issues. Does the High Court have jurisdiction to alter the interim custody of the minors when the matter is already pending before the guardian court? Are habeas corpus proceeding appropriate for determining complex disputes about the custody of minors? Analysis. This court is in constitutional jurisdiction, although has jurisdiction to hand over temporary custody to any one of the parent by directing the other to seek remedy before the guardian court. Yet, as matter is already pending before the guardian court, this court is not inclined to declare that the minor has been snatched forcibly by any one of the parent from the other or custody of the said parent as illegal and improper, which requires determination of disputed facts are not permissible in the constitutional jurisdiction of this court, lest it may prejudice the rights of the parties before the guardian court, where proceedings for custody of minors are pending. Habeas corpus proceeding by the very nature and purport are summary in character, and neither controversies are tried nor entire evidence is recorded under ordinary substantive and procedural laws under civil and criminal jurisdiction, and such as jurisdiction, being extraordinary in its very nature, should be sparingly used because the plenary jurisdiction in the matter rests under other laws in other forms of special jurisdiction who should normally be allowed to exercise it in accordance with the law. Reliance in this behalf may be placed on the judgments reported Muhammad Rafiq versus Muhammad Ghafoor, PLD 1972 SC 6 and PLD 1997 SC 852 Supra. Conclusion. In case of pendency of matter before guardian court, High Court does not incline to interfere into proceeding of the guardian court. इन शॉर्ट कि वो अगर गार्डियन कोर्ट में कोई सूट पेंडिंग है तो फिर हाई कोर्ट जो है वो उस मामले को नहीं सुनती। The habeas corpus proceedings are summary in nature and neither controversies are tried nor evidence is recorded. जो habeas corpus की प्रोसीडिंग है वो summary नेचर की प्रोसीडिंग है, उसमें ना तो किसी एविडेंस को रिकॉर्ड करने की ज़रूरत होती है और ना ही कोई ट्रायल चलता है उसमें। अगला है जी केस लॉ फैक्ट्स। द इंटर कोर्ट अपील ICA is against the dismissal of constitutional petition challenging a magistrate's decision to discharge an accused based on a report by an investigating officer from whom investigation has been transferred. The appellant also contested the initiation of proceedings against him under Section 182 of Pakistan Penal Code, while his private complaint on the same matter is pending. Can proceeding under Section 182 PPC initiated during a pending complaint on the same subject matter? Can police investigate after a discharge order? Analysis. In judgments reported MGA so and so, ये वैसे भी याद नहीं रहनी, पढ़ लीजिएगा इसका एक दफा जिसको चाहिए हो तो। Wherein it is provided that during pendency of complaint, state case proceeding under Section 182 PPC in a criminal case relating to same subject matter cannot be initiated. It is important to note here that in view of the principles laid down in judgments reported Mia Muhammad Asif versus SSP Operation Lahore and two others, those are thus YLR 944 Habibur Rahman and others versus State etc. Despite discharge order, police authorities may reinvestigate the matter. Section 182 PPC proceedings cannot be during pending complaints. Police authorities may reinvestigate a matter even after the discharge order. अच्छा जी, आगे है दिस रिट पिटिशन ऑफ हेबियस कॉर्पस इज फाइल्ड फॉर द रिकवरी ऑफ डेटिन्यू स्टेटली इन वो रह गया। उसमें था कि 182 PPC की प्रोसीडिंग जो है ना वो अगर एक कंप्लेंट सेम मैटर पर पेंडिंग है तो फिर 182 की प्रोसीडिंग नहीं हो सकती। पुलिस अथॉरिटी जो है वो री इन्वेस्टिगेट कर सकती हैं मैटर इवन आफ्टर डिस्चार्ज ऑर्डर। डिस्चार्ज ऑर्डर के बाद वजूद भी री इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर सकती है पुलिस। अगला पढ़ते हैं जी। इश्यूज है वेदर द हाई कोर्ट इज कम्पिटेंट टू कन्वर्ट वन हेबियस कॉर्पस पिटिशन प्रोसीडिंग इनटू अ बेल पिटिशन। Needless to mention that this court is competent to convert one type of proceedings into another type of proceedings, which power also includes conversion of habeas corpus petition into bail application, where court, while dealing the habeas corpus petition, came to the conclusion that detention of a person required justification and or such detention was found to be illegal and unauthorized or had been effected on the ground of suspicion only. Conclusion as the court is competent to convert one type of proceeding into another type of proceeding, which power also includes conversion of habeas corpus petition into bail application. सिंपल सी बात है कि कोर्ट के पास पावर है कि वो एक प्रोसीडिंग को दूसरे प्रोसीडिंग में कन्वर्ट कर सकती है, कि हेबियस को बेल एप्लीकेशन में कन्वर्ट कर सकती है। फैक्ट्स अगला है द केस pertains to a dispute over principal borrower and guarantor. The respondent bank contended that the guarantee is a continuing guarantee and same is enforceable. The appellants contested their liability as a guarantor on the ground that subsequent finance renewal agreement did not mention their guarantees. Issues. Does the non-mentioning of personal guarantee in subsequent finance renewal agreements discharge the guarantors from their obligations? When an application for leave to defend under Section 10 of Financial Institutions Recovery of Finance Ordinance 2001 be dismissed as not raising substantial questions of law or fact. Analysis. Although learned single judge in chambers has referred to the continuing guarantees of the appellant numbers 3 and 4 issued between 4/7/2003 to 1 July 2008 against renewals of finance facility, but the said judgment is silent as to the fact of renewal agreements dated 1st July 2009 onwards, which only refer to continuing guarantee of appellant number 2, but not to the guarantees issued by appellant numbers 3 and 4. Even the plaintiff is silent to that fact, which only refers to personal guarantees of the appellant number 3 and 4 up to the renewal of the agreement for the year 2007 to 8. The effect of the aforereferred non-mentioning of the personal guarantees of the appellant number 3 and 4 was required to be determined while passing the impugned judgment, which is not forthcoming on the record. Therefore, the said appellants were at least entitled for granting leave to defend to establish that their guarantees had been discharged. So far as contentions of the appellants are concerned, learned single judge in chambers has properly appreciated the controversy and rightly dismissed their applications for leave to defend, and no substantial question of law and facts requiring recording of evidence as being raised in application for leave to defend was not in consonance with the provision of section 10, 3 and 4 and 5 of the ordinance and was rightly refused. Next, as effects appellant challenged his conviction and sentence passed by learned session judge special court CNS under section 9C of CNS Act 1997 to suffer rigorous imprisonment for life along with the fine rupees 50,000 and in default whereof to further undergo simple imprisonment for 1 year through this appeal. Issues. What is the legal impact of dishonest improvements made by witness upon the case of prosecution? What is the scope of contradictions in prosecution evidence? Whether incriminating articles recovered from the accused can be read in evidence if not produced and tendered in accordance with the rules and orders of the Lahore High Court, Lahore, Volume 3, Chapter 24, Part B. Whether Section 29 CNSA is a deviation from the general law, wherein throughout a criminal trial the burden of proving a case is upon the shoulders of prosecution. Analysis. In a wrestle With the proposition we came across observation of the Supreme Court of Action given in case reported as Muhammad Arif versus State 2019 SCMR 631, wherein it is held that the portion of deposition of witness which is brought on record through dishonest improvements is destined to be discarded from consideration. The expression contradiction is wide in scope and brings within its compass all the legal omissions, shortcomings, and lacunas. Besides, this is applicable in situations when the acceptance of deposition of one witness necessitates the rejection of another. For tendering in evidence the articles having incriminating worth, guidelines are provided in the rules and orders of the Lahore High Court, Lahore, Volume 3, Chapter 24, Part B. In the referred chapter, the procedure is provided for bringing on record the articles and documents having nexus with the case, according to Section 29. Though in the wake of recovery of contraband substance, a presumption adverse to the accused facing trial is to be marked, but still prosecution cannot be absolved from obligation of proving its case beyond shadow of any doubt. The burden of Section 29 will tilt towards accused only if the recovery of narcotics is nexus with the accused along with origin as contraband substance is proved by the prosecution beyond shade of any ambiguity. The language of Section 29 is akin to the wording of Section 8 of the Suppression of Terrorist Activities Special Court Act 1975, Section 9 of the Offences in Respect of Banks, Special Courts Ordinance 1984, and Section 14 of the National Accountability Ordinance 1999. All the aforementioned provisions came under the judicial scrutiny, and it was resolved by the courts that prosecution cannot be given leverage of not proving its case against the accused beyond any doubt, and failure to discharge such obligation will culminate in judgment of acquittal. The incriminating articles recovered from the accused, if not produced and tendered in accordance with Rule 14F and 14H IBID, thus cannot be read in evidence. Section 29 of CNSA is not a deviation from the general law throughout a criminal trial, as the burden of proving a case is upon the shoulders of prosecution. Facts. The petitioner was convicted for stabbing and injuring the victim due to a dispute. The trial and appellate courts upheld the convictions, promoting this revision petition issues. What is the definition of hypochondrium and its anatomical boundaries? What is the definition of a body cavity and its role in enclosing vital organs? What constitutes a Jaffa injury and how does it relate to penetration into the body cavity and damage to internal organs? Does the non-examination of a doctor as a witness and the admission of a photocopy of the surgical notes as evidence adversely affect the prosecution's case analysis? It may be observed that in the Merriam-Webster Medical Dictionary, the hypochondrium is defined as either hypochondriac region of the body located beneath the lower ribs of and above the abdomen, whereas in Dorland's Medical Dictionary, one of the two regions of the abdomen that lie on either side of the epigastrium and below the ribs. Generally, the term hypochondrium has the following dictionary meanings: anatomical context, either of two regions of the upper abdomen situated on each side of the epigastrium and beneath the lower ribs. Etymological context, derived from the Greek words hypo under and chondros, cartilage, referring to the cartilage of the ribs. The hypochondrium refers to an anatomical region of the abdomen located on either side of the upper abdomen beneath the rib cage. It is divided into two parts, i.e. the right hypochondrium, which contains the liver, especially the right lobe, gallbladder, and part of the kidney, and the left hypochondrium contains the stomach, spleen, tail of pancreas, part of the kidney, and parts of the colon, respectively. The body cavity, on the other hand, has been defined in the Oxford English Dictionary as a hollow space within the body that contains organs or other structures such as thoracic cavity or abdominal cavity. In Merriam-Webster Medical Dictionary, a cavity in an animal body, specifically the coelom, which is the main body cavity housing organs, and in Cambridge Dictionary, an opening into the human body, such as the mouth, anus, or similar spaces that house internal structures. Thus, the body cavity means a part of the body under which vital organs are located. An injury penetrating into the body cavity wherein the vital organs are located is treated as JIPA. Further collateral damage or injury to the internal organs referred to herein above inside the abdomen is sufficient to bring the case within the purview of JIPA. Injury number 2, i.e. a stab bound to by two deep going left side of abdomen in left hypochondrium, clearly falls within the definition of JIPA. The non-examination of Dr. Umar Bloch as PW, as well as non-production of the original surgical notes in evidence, therefore have no adverse bearing upon the prosecution's case, and the learned counsel for the petitioner can yield no fruit and draw any benefit on the strength of his argument that photocopy of the surgical notes has illegally been placed on record as Exhibit PH. The reliance of the learned counsel for the petitioner on the case reported as Parvez Khan versus the State PLD 1998 Lahore 84 being inept in the facts and circumstances of instant case does not advance the cause of the petitioner, rather it affirms view of this court as discussed above. The hypochondrium is a specific anatomical region located beneath the lower ribs and above the abdomen with defined boundaries including organs like the liver, spleen, and stomach. A body cavity is a hollow space within the body that houses vital organs such as thoracic or abdominal cavity. A JIPA injury is categorized by penetration into the body cavity and causing damage to internal organs. The unavailability of the operating doctor's testimony and reliance on photocopied surgical notes do not adversely affect the prosecution case. Judicial Magistrate Section 30 convicted petitioner in complaint filed under Section 6 5B of Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961 with allegation of contracting second marriage with permission from first wife and arbitration counsel, criminal appeal preferred by the convict and criminal revision filed by the complainant were dismissed from Sessions Court, and the judgment has been challenged by convict through revision petition before Honorable High Court. Issues: whether judicial magistrate has jurisdiction for trial of complaint filed under Section 6(5)(b) of the Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961. Analysis: no adverting to the moot point raised by learned counsel for the petitioner, the jurisdiction of the learned magistrate Section 30 to entertain and decide the criminal complaint under the ordinance, so it would be in the fitness of things to reproduce the relevant provisions of Section 5 of the West Pakistan Family Courts Act 1964, which are as under, and through amendment in the Punjab Family Court Amendment Act 2015 XIO 2015 dated 18 March 2015, a family court was given the power of the judicial magistrate first class under the CRPC 1898 for the purpose of taking cognizance of and trial of any offence under the Muslim family laws. The relevant amendments and reproduced as under ongoing through subsection 3 of section 20 of the Act. There is hardly any cavil with the proposition that only a family court can take cognizance of the offence on the complaint of the Union Council, Arbitration Council, or aggrieved party. And obviously the respondent was aggrieved party. However, I have to see whether the learned judicial magistrate was additionally given the powers of judge, family court, or not. Since ongoing through the above preferred provision of Muslim family law, there is no cavil with the proposition that only the family courts have given the expulsive jurisdiction to entertain the issues and adjudicate upon the matters specified in Part 1 of the schedule. So, the conducting of the trial by the learned judicial magistrate was certainly quorum non judice and a nullity, meaning thereby that every very inception of the trial was not in accordance with the law, and it is tried that if a base of action was wrong, all superstructure raised their own would have no sanctity under the law. In a recent pronouncement rendered by this court in case of Muzaffar Nawaz versus Ishra Rasool and other 2022 by a law, this court had set aside the judgment of both the courts below on the same point that the learned judicial magistrate was not empowered to hold the trial under the ordinance. Conclusion: Judicial Magistrate Section 30 has no jurisdiction to entertain complaint filed under the Muslim Family Laws Ordinance 1961. Facts: A civil revision petition was filed challenging concurrent judgments by the trial court and appellate courts decreeing specific performance of a sale agreement for immovable property. The petitioner contested the agreement's authenticity, contending it was a security arrangement, not a sale agreement. Issues: Can a party contest a sale agreement based on an unsubstantiated claim under the Kanun-e-Shahadat Order 1984? Are oral statements admissible to contradict, vary, add, or subtract the terms of a written agreement? Under what circumstances can concurrent findings of fact by lower courts be interfered with in revisional jurisdiction? Analysis: The case of the respondent was that petitioner entered into an agreement of sale in favor of deceased. The stance of petitioners was that in fact there was no sale agreement, rather it was an agreement for investment in the business of the petitioner. The petitioners were unable to prove their counter-version in regard to document Exhibit P1. Plea raised in the written statement about the nature of the document as security appears to be afterthought and as such impossible and also impermissible as per Article 102, 103 and 104 of the Kanun-e-Shahadat Order 1984. Article 102 contemplates that when the terms of a contract have been reduced to the form of a document, no evidence shall be given in proof of the terms except the document itself or secondary evidence of its contents. Article 103 provides that the terms of any such contract shall not be admitted as between the parties for purpose of contradicting, varying, adding, or subtracting from its terms. No misreading or non-reading of evidence or any material discrepancy therein could be highlighted in the course of hearing of the petition, which would vitiate the findings of the courts below. No ground for interference could be made out in the concurrent findings of fact in the circumstances. The revision petition is devoid of substance and is dismissed. A sale agreement cannot be contested based on an unsubstantiated claim under Article 103, 103, 104 of the Kanun-e-Shahadat Order 1984. Oral statements cannot vary, add, or contradict the terms of a written agreement. Concurrent findings by lower courts can only be interfered with if there is misreading, non-reading, or material discrepancy in the evidence. आज के लिए इतना काफ़ी है. नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में देखते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर लिसनिंग.